and start this press conference with Ross Bjork. Ross, I'll let you open it up with whatever you want, and then I'll go ahead and call on people as they have questions.
What's the volume like? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, pull the mic up a little bit and lower it if you need to there.
Is that good? Is that better? Okay. Oh, there is a speaker.
Oh yeah,
we're high tech. Okay. All right. Well, appreciate you guys. I know you're here to listen to me break down the quarterback play. Or that's what time is that, Jerry? 11:45. Yeah, we'll let Coach Day handle that part of it. But we're here to announce our new really game day atmosphere, game day fan entertainment called Tradition Evolved. And we have a website, ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Tradition Evolved. That I believe that's live, I think, as we're sitting here today. But we really started reviewing all the game day elements last fall as I was getting here my first year going through the football season. How can we take an amazing setting where there's so much pride, so much tradition, and just make it better? That's the bottom line, make it better. So kind of take that energy that's intentionally created around game day, but channel it to really more of an emotional response. And then let's not let our programming, meaning how we script our games, get in the way of an emotional reaction that our fans, really do to support our team. And so how do you modernize, how do you innovate in this new era, while at the same time honoring all the traditional elements that make Ohio State so special? So we came up with this term, Tradition Evolved. It just sort of stuck in many ways. And the North Star was honor tradition, and you guys have heard me say this, but not think traditionally. And then how do we keep our fans, really at the forefront, our fans first mentality? So the process, we let Caleb Clark, who's our associate AD for marketing and live events, we really gave him full autonomy. Lay out the process, develop a plan, and create what we think can be a great platform. So from there, we hired a consultant, Johnny and Amanda Greco, Shine Entertainment. They are world renowned for really enhancing a lot of game day atmospheres. So Johnny came in and looked at a couple games, not just football, but also a couple basketball games as well. And so we worked with Johnny and his team. We had multiple meetings with student groups, with Block O leadership, with student government organizations, fan and donor groups, sort of some informal focus groups. We used our fan surveys to gather a lot of input. We worked with band leadership. The band is a critical piece of this. If you've already checked out the website, you see some nuances around how we're enhancing the band. Ohio State Sports Properties, they handle all of our sponsorship. They're a big part of making these changes happen. Alpha Phi Omega, they've been the bell ringer post-game. We're incorporating a new pregame routine into with the victory bell. So we met with them, and then just a lot of stakeholders internally. How do we make sure we pull this off? So here's the buckets. I won't get into a lot of the detail. We want the website to really speak for itself, but we will have a victory bell ringer. The first game, Archie Griffin is our victory bell ringer. So the victory bell will be rung before the game to signify that's the time for the team to enter the field. The victory bell will also continue to obviously be rung post-game by Alpha Phi Omega, but we really want an honorary figure, a former player, somebody connected to Ohio State, some celebrity perhaps, to really be the one that pulls that rope on the victory bell. And then on third down, that'll be the third down signal. When we need to stop on third down, the victory bell will be what signifies our fans to get into. And if you look at the victory bell tower, above it says "for vigor," and that means effort, energy, and enthusiasm. And so we want the victory bell every time it's rung to signify for vigor. We will introduce the towel. Right? The Ohio State University, we will have the towel. The first game, all fans that enter the Texas game will receive a free towel, and then of course we'll sell it, right? It'll be a merchandise item, but we want people to bring that back. We want the towel to be a signal, to really be a unifying approach. Our fans, what we heard from our fans is there's not really a single song, or some people have pom-poms, some people have a towel. What can we bring to the table that unifies our fans into more passion, more energy? So we say the best fans in the nation, and we want our fans to wave that towel and be energetic every single time. We'll have color outs. We'll have different themes for different games throughout the year. Another cool feature is we will enhance the team entrance. People remember the Tennessee game and how the team came out, different lighting, different music. So we'll do a new team entrance, and then Brutus will have his own entrance before each game. That'll be different. It'll be unique. And so we're definitely going to signify Brutus entering the stadium. We want him to be, again, anchored as the best mascot in all of college sports. We will also utilize the ramp, the band ramp on the north end. That'll be a signifying moment that will really highlight using the ramp in unique ways. Defend the shoe. So this is unique, right? The Buckeye Leaf is synonymous with success, with passion, with leadership. It obviously goes on the helmet. Our fans can now earn a Buckeye Leaf. It'll go on the video board. It'll be shown throughout. It'll be, similar to baseball stadiums where they have like a, strikeout chart. Block O, our student organization, will have a chart of Buckeye Leafs. Every time we get a third down, we make a false start on third down, or somebody has to call timeout because it's too loud. I remember the Indiana game. What did they say after that game? Hey, the crowd really impacted our silent count. So anytime there's an impact, the fans can earn a Buckeye Leaf. I think that'll be really, really cool. Soundtrack of Ohio Stadium. How we do music, when we play music, the type of music, we're going to reformat all of that. We want to bring just more energy into the stadium. And so we'll really make sure that we're paying attention to each part of the game. If there's a great play, it could be different kind of music. If we need to hype the crowd coming out of a timeout, we'll have different music. One of the really cool things here in Ohio is the passion, the pride. And so the band Camp. Does everyone know who's our music buff here in the media? Who knows Camp? They have a song called Ohio, right? And so we will take that song, we will put it to a cool video that really speaks to the state of Ohio pride, and we'll play that in the first half. It'll really rally, I think, our fans around our great state of Ohio. So the song Ohio hopefully will be synonymous now with Ohio Stadium. Block O, we've increased the section of Block O. We've added more seats for our student leadership group, our fan group called Block O. It creates a louder section, a bigger section there in the south end zone. They used to be in the north and in the south. Now they're only in the south. And so we want Block O to have a meaningful presence. And really, if you think about it, great stadiums, the energy oftentimes, most of the time, is created by the students. So we need Block O to really be the leadership of the fan passion in Ohio Stadium. We'll remake video board content. We'll really reformat our video board to make it speak more about Ohio State. So you'll see a lot of things there. Also, really cool about the Tennessee game, we were able to take over the LED, the ribbon board, the video board. We could make it all one color, so you'll see some things. We don't have flashing lights yet, right? We're working on some projects around some new technology, but video board content will be really cool. Presentations. Instead of doing presentations on the 20, please direct your attention to the 10-yard line or the 20-yard line. Any presentation that we do will be utilizing the ramp. And when you come to the bottom of the ramp, that's where the dignitary, the team, whoever we're honoring, will stand on a Buckeye Leaf. And that's where we'll get everybody fired up about that presentation. We will also shorten the scripts on those presentations. We want energy in the stadium. And then we'll save the best for last. The best damn band in the land, right? We want to enhance them. We're moving them to the north end zone. We're going to amplify them through sound. We'll have microphones. We'll have speakers. We think the sound will be better back there in the north end zone. One of the things that we're also changing is we're not necessarily going to play Hang On Sloopy between the third and fourth quarter. That will be played when it's needed the most. It will be more organic. We'll play it when the moment is right. It's not just going to be kind of stuck there between the third and fourth quarter like it has been in the past. And so Hang On Sloopy will always play in Ohio Stadium, but we are going to have the flexibility, depending on the moment, to play it when we need it, when we need the energy that people care deeply about that song. So those are the buckets. It's all laid out there on the website. We think it'll be a really cool atmosphere to roll it out for the Texas game. We know it's a noon game, but it shouldn't matter. These elements can apply no matter what time the game is. Our fans can rally no matter what time the game, and that's what we're excited about. And then this template, it will overlay to the Schottenstein Center, to the Cavelli Center, to Jesse Owens. Wherever we're playing a game, we want the same elements, the same philosophy to be part of the interaction for all of our fans. So that's it in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Outstanding. Thank you very much, Ross. Over here to your right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Ross, you were obviously at some places before you came to Ohio State and had a chance to see those crowds. What was your impression last year as a first-year AD of the experience and atmosphere at the Shield?
Yeah, look, the loyalty and passion is unmatched, right? But it just felt like we were missing something for people to kind of grab onto, whether that is a physical thing, whether that's a song, whether that's really kind of showcasing the true history of Ohio State sports. You know, the Buckeye pride is deep. I mean, there's so many people that maybe they can only come to one game a year, or they've gone to one game in their lifetime. We want them to walk away saying, I'm coming back. And I just didn't feel like we had that gravitational pull around uniformity and around really the true tradition. So I thought it was great that the passion's there, but then how do we produce it more for entertainment? And so those are the things that we looked at.
Tim May.
How much thought did you give into ring the victory bell premature? I mean, and like you said, the vigor thing makes a lot of sense.
You know, again, it's such an asset, right? So we looked at how do we take all of our assets that we have that everybody gravitates towards, but then amp them up to another level. Again, the Buckeye Leaf, right? Having our fans say, hey, I can earn a Buckeye Leaf for the entire stadium because we caused a false start. How do we take the victory bell, right? And the reason why they put the bell in is so people knew if Ohio State won. Okay, well, that's a signal for excellence. We want excellence to be a standard. So let's have that be the signifying moment of when the team is walking on the field for victory, for energy, for effort. So I think it's a cool way. And then if you can have somebody that pulls the rope, like Archie, obviously, clearly with his second Heisman Trophy, 50th anniversary of his second Heisman Trophy. No one else has that. Have him be the first. When I called him and asked him, he was so fired up. There's a video. I think the video's out as well with Archie, you know, pulling the rope on the. So it just thought, you know, it's an asset that's not utilized, but only 7-8 times a year. How do we use it as a ramp up, you know, to really signal a rallying cry? I think it was a great idea by Caleb and his team.
Sorry about that. To your left, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Do you think that it was more the atmospheres that you experienced on the road last year, or the Tennessee game, or maybe the lack of atmosphere in some of these games in Horseshoe that kind of made you want to do this?
I think it's just an evolution of college sports, right? People, again, how do we create a home field advantage? And then I think people want to be entertained, and people see these other games that are happening around the country. So I think it's a combination of all of it. Part of it is, look, we need some new technology. So we need a new sound system. We need new ribbon board, LED board. That's coming into the future. So part of that was gearing up and having the right platform to be ready for that new technology. So it's just a combination of a lot of things. A lot of people that were at the Oregon game remember that game, and they're like, oh, wow, that's what it can be. People remember the Tennessee game. So it really started, I think for me, it started after the first couple games where I saw that there was an opportunity here.
That new video board and everything?
Yeah.
2026 or
We're hoping we can get some things installed by 26. If not, everything would be installed by 27.
Over to the right, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
A lot of cool, interesting ideas. I'm curious, was everybody on the same page, Ross, or did you guys have some pushback?
You know, throughout the process, again, Caleb ran a great process. The amount of feedback that we got, the amount of input I think we had on the front end, I think really allowed for a runway. Look, even the band. We met with the band, and they were all in. They want more energy. They want more involvement into the game. They want more organic moments while also protecting the history. So every time we laid out a new wrinkle or a new idea, I don't think there was anything that everybody said, oh, that's too far, that's a bridge too far. I think everybody was ready to really embrace this.
Jared Smalley.
Ross, can you run through what the south end zone will look like now? You're doing that construction
Yeah.
in there for the new, upgraded seating. and then you're going to put all those students together. So two things on that front. What will construction look like throughout the season? And then how will the new Block O be formed? And how much real estate would then be left in the South End for other sports?
Yeah, as far as Block, we're adding 2 more sections for Block O. I don't know the exact number of seats that we added. Almost doubles their section, 2 more sections. This year, you will not see any quote-unquote construction. All of the install for the new South End Zone premium area will be done in the summer of 2026 to be ready by fall of 26. So you won't see anything new this year in the South End Zone other than Block O being expanded by 2 sections. And then that just creates, again, as we map this out, look, we sold almost 26,000 student season tickets again this year. I think it's over 26,000. Again, the more things we can do to just evolve and create, we want our students to be the focal point of energy. And so that's why when we met with Block O, they were all in to consolidate them. By moving the band, that obviously freed up space. So all of those pieces, worked in harmony together.
How much real estate does that leave for non-students in that South End Zone, roughly?
I'd have to probably check. Caleb in the back, I don't know if it leaves much room at all for any other fans in the South End Zone, other than if there's games that we don't sell out the student section based on the package that they bought, we'll have some flexibility, but otherwise we expect it to be full
Over to the left.
every game.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Whether it's some of the stuff you're building in that South End Zone next summer, some of the other ideas you have, trying to balance maximizing fan experience while also making sure that you're putting things in place that can also help you make more money. What are those conversations like, and trying to make sure you're upgrading Ohio State with the right
It's a
things,
balance.
not doing too much.
I think as we look at the horseshoe, it's really going to be a balance. How do we do amenities for every fan? Restrooms, concessions, concourse, whatever that might look, parking, egress, ingress, but then also how do we monetize? Because in this era, right, even though we make a lot of money here at Ohio State, there's more. We have to produce more. We're balancing 36 sports. We're balancing revenue share. We're balancing NIL opportunities, right? And so all of those things come into play. So as we look at future, it's going to be a balance of what produces revenue, but also how does it speak to every fan that walks in there. We have a team shop concept that we want to deploy. We took 2,000 seats and lowered the price, and they do not require a donation. How do we continue to look at those kind of models? So the key word is balance, right? Balance in an old stadium. I think this past weekend was the groundbreaking anniversary back in 1921, I think, when they broke ground on Ohio Stadium. It's 104 years ago. How do we keep the stadium going, for the next 100 years? That's going to be the balance.
Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Ross, clarification detail on the towel and V-towel.
Yeah.
I think it said 100,000 handed out at the first game.
What's our capacity? 102, 780, right?
Right, so the question is, we have 57,000 season ticket. So, what about the second game?
Bring the towel back.
But they may not come to the game. How does that?
Yeah, then we're going to sell them. We'll have towels for sale. Yep. Or get it from your buddy who you got your ticket from for the first game, right?
Joe Reedy, far left, Associated Press.
Ross, kind of a two-pronged question to this. Just expanding off the towel, was there any hesitation among the group because there's a city 180 miles to the east that is very popular with that?
There's a lot of copycat ideas, right, that are out there. People will copycat what we do many times too. But, look, I think it's all about, the word "the" is synonymous with Ohio State. No one else has that. So how do we create an item using the word "the"? And then the towel, it just seemed to be the easiest, most fan-friendly element that people gravitated towards. I think towels have been introduced over time at different points. So there is some history of that, but just making it consistent. But no, we weren't really worried about anybody else. We were trying to be unique about the word "the" here at Ohio State.
And then just in terms of presentation, how much of it is, trying to replicate that pro sports experience with presentation, but also there's a lot of elements of college that people like?
Yeah, look, I think what's unique about college sports is you have students, you have a band, right? I mean, the people gravitate towards the players. They have so much affinity for their institution. So I think it is a different element. And so how do you balance those elements of the collegiate feel, but also saying, look, it's about entertainment. It's about monetizing. It's about using your technology. It's about using sponsors in a more unique way. It's about the certain kind of music that you play. You know, again, using elements of our tradition to entertain. The victory bell. You know, the ramp is synonymous with the entry to our stadium. So I think it's just capturing the tradition of that, but also saying, you know what, it is different. People do expect entertainment, but they also want the connectivity. And I think that's what we have here at Ohio State.
Doug Maurice.
Ross, I think sometimes with night games, that energy can
Yeah.
be organic, right? Just kind of get
Right.
that. I heard you guys play some games at noon. Is it the idea?
I've heard about that.
Yes.
Is that another story that we need to talk about? Yeah.
Just that reality, did that encourage you guys to
Yeah.
be more thoughtful or proactive with some of these ideas because you're trying to create that?
You know, again, what we tried to create is, look, we can't predict game time. We can't control it. We can have input. We can give our opinion, but the times are the times. How do you take a platform? It doesn't matter what time it is. We can ring the bell, right? We can use the ramp. We can do Buckeye Leafs. We can change our music. We can flash LED in daylight too, right? There are certain things you can do at night that you can't do, like drone shows. Can't really do that during the day, right? We did that at the Tennessee game. But really taking a platform and saying it doesn't matter. How do we engage our fans in a more unique way? That's what we wanted to really stand the test of time. If it's a noon game, a 3:30 or a 7:30, it shouldn't matter. Here's the platform, here's the tradition, here's the elements to get our students involved. So it really had to kind of stand the test of time no matter what time the game time is.
Throw in just off what Tony was asking about. It sounds like the letter of intent is kind of going by the wayside in December. Like, what now binds a high school athlete in November, December to the college they're going to enroll in January? And how sticky is that?
The letter of intent went away last year, right? That went away. And so you're signing a financial aid agreement for the scholarship piece. And then you're also now, those athletes that receive a revenue share allocation will sign a revenue share MOU, Memo of Understanding. And so that's what would bind them to the institution. And again, there can be buyout things in there. There can be transfer language in there. Again, some of those things can be negotiated individually. Some of those will be standards by the Big Ten because we're part of the Big Ten. So those things will be signed in December on signing day.
By definition, what's the difference between that and a contract?
You know, there's not much other than, you know, maybe what you call it, right? Memos of understanding is what the Big Ten has laid out. It's a uniform, you know, memo across the conference. So we're working, you know, through the logistics of that right now. You know, contract, memo, whatever you want to call it, it should have the same parameters. I think what you may be getting at is the employment piece. Like, okay, where does that go? And look, I think as an industry, nobody's there yet, right? We can talk about it, but it comes with a lot of complications. And so right now we think this is the right structure. We'll keep analyzing and keep building, you know, for what lies ahead.
Got time for just a couple more. Over to the right, Austin Ward, WBNS Radio and TV.
Ross, you guys spent months working on the premium seating project, done months of this. Now it's coming to the finish line. Like, what is the next new project? Is there one that's underway now, or is there one that's on your mind that's the next thing?
On which list? For which sport?
Football.
Yeah, look, there's always some. You're always evolving. Look, we know we're sitting here in the Woody Hayes Athletic Complex. We know that this is on the list. You know, how do we do it? You know, how do we fund it? You know, we're in kind of a quiet phase. We're talking to donors about this project. So we've got the Woody Hayes project on the list. We've got the new ice hockey arena on the list, and then what happens to the St. John corridor area, that's on the list. We hope to install new video boards for soccer, softball, baseball, all the outdoor venues that need an upgrade. We hope those get installed over the next year. A new video board in the Schottenstein Center. I mean, there's a constant list. Obviously, Ohio Stadium, we talked about that, but we really want to get hockey in the Woody Hayes complex off the ground, make those visible. Here's what we're doing. Here's the timeline. Here's the funding outline. So hopefully by this fall, we'll have a little more clarity on what that looks like.
And final question, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Russ, you mentioned tradition several times. You've been
Yeah.
around for a little over a year now, but how much do you lean on others to decide, hey, this is something we can change, like the victory bell, or maybe this is something we don't touch because it's sacred to Buckeye fans?
Yeah, I think that's why we did the focus groups. That's why we had a great, robust process to say, is there anything that we may want to touch that we shouldn't, or we need to be careful about? And so it's very, very important. So we rely on former players. We rely on staff members who have been around a long time, obviously, fans and donors, things like that. We relied on a lot of input of just saying, hey, everyone recognize the need, then it's about how, and how do we execute it. So I think it was a great process to get a lot of input